infrastructure, air defense systems across the entire Western Front. The bases we struck include Chaklala, Rafiki, and mind you, Chaklala is Islamabad. Rahim Yar Khan, Sakar, sending a clear message that aggression will not be tolerated. This was followed by strikes at Sargoda, Bholari, Jacobabad. We also struck the C2 centers at Murid, the UAE complex at Murid, Rafiki, radar at Chunia, which I will show you, Rahim Yar Khan airfield, and the unmanned combat aerial vehicle hangar at Sakar.
In the aftermath of the cowardly attacks on innocent tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir by Pakistani-sponsored terrorists on 22nd April, the Indian Navy's Carrier Battle Group, surface forces, submarines and aviation assets were immediately deployed at sea with full combat readiness in concert with the Joint Operation Plan of the Indian Defence Forces. You may be aware that we tested and refined tactics and procedures at sea during multiple weapon firings in the Arabian Sea within 96 hours of the terrorist attack. Forces remained forward deployed in the Northern Arabian Sea in a dissuasive and deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi at time of our choosing. The forward deployment of the Indian Navy compelled Pakistani naval and air units to be in a defensive posture, mostly inside harbors or very close to the coast, which we monitored continuously.
And for further details, let's go across to my colleagues who have been tracking all the finer developments for us. Shiv joins us live from Srinagar at the moment. Harsha joins us live from Jaisalmer, and Tanushka is joining us with the details on the National Capital Region and the airport situation. Shiv, I'd like to come to you first to get in an update from Srinagar this morning. We've been talking about surgical precision, strict ultimatums. You've detailed India's achievements during Operation Sindoor. But Shiv, tell us, are families near the LOCs sleeping any easier? Or are they still having to live hour to hour fearing what's next? Is the calm real, restrained, uneasy? What's happening?
Good morning, Parmeshwar. That's a great question to begin with because, I don't think those families ever really have complete calm or peace. Living so close to the line of control, the complete unreliability of a country like Pakistan, terror launch pads in PoK, they never really have any, extended sense of calm. There's always some kind of turbulence. I hear that in the last 2 years, in places like Uri and the forward areas of Kupwara, there have been sort of partial evacuations on a number of occasions wherever there have been ceasefire violations. As you saw in our ground reporting, shells have landed right in the middle of population centers and villages in all of these sectors. So there is obviously the instinctive reaction in many of those places is that they welcome the ceasefire, the agreement between India and Pakistan, because at least it gives them a breather to carry on with life, return home to their villages maybe. Many of them have been bundled into buses and taken to Baramulla and the depth areas away from the line of fire. But hopefully just a little bit of that, normalcy will return. But I think the big focus of today, Parmeshwar, like you rightly pointed out at the beginning, is going to be on that conversation over the hotline between the two Director Generals of Military Operations, Major General Kashif Abdullah of Pakistan and Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai of India. He is the officer who addressed that press conference yesterday as well, along with his two counterparts in the Navy and the Air Force. This is going to be absolutely critical, Parmeshwar, because it is impinging on this conversation what the next few days and weeks is going to look like, what steps the countries take. Remember, the conversation that happens at 12 today has been prefixed by a message that was sent on the DGMO hotline yesterday, as revealed in that Armed Forces briefing, where India sent out a message saying, okay, a few hours after the understanding understanding was reached. There were some violations. There were drone attacks. Even, yesterday there were some minor incidents, apparently nothing to take a very, very big note of. But India sent out a very, very aggressive message. It's actually quite uncharacteristic, but very much keeping it with the last few days, saying that, the smallest deviation now is going to be seen as hostile action, and India will respond with a very, very heightened kinetic punitive measures. So today's conversation is what we're going to be looking at very, very closely. It will be the blueprint of what happens next.
As always, thank you so much for joining us with that live update from Srinagar this morning. As my colleague Shiv Arur is asserting, all eyes will be on those top military level talks that are expected to take place on the hotline at noon today. And that conversation will determine what the next few days will look like. Meanwhile, there's restrained optimism in border areas. A sense of calm prevails in Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir and Rajasthan, following the mutual understanding between India and Pakistan to cease all military action across land, air and sea. Authorities in border districts have urged residents to resume normal life and remain calm. But Harsha is currently joining us from Rajasthan. We're given to understand there's a precautionary blackout in Jaisalmer, but let's just get in an update from what this morning looks like in Jaisalmer. Harsha, take our viewers through what we need to know.
Well, yes, the border districts are on a heightened sense of alertness, but life has sort of returned to normal. In fact, in the day, you can see people going about their daily business, but in the evenings, they have been asked to return indoors. This is at about 7:30 in the evening when the blackout begins. So that's quite early, really, in the evening for the western districts, but that's how it is. And that's how it's going to probably remain for the next few days until, the situation actually eases as far as the border districts are concerned. But having said that, there has been no activity actually reported, apart from a little bit of drone movement that some people reported from Barmer. The collector also tweeted about it. Then she also went on her Twitter handle to say that, don't give in to social media speculation. No drones have been shot over Barmer. Similarly, in Jaisalmer also, the siren went off for a few minutes in the early hours of the morning. But again, no activity reported, no sounds of explosions heard. So we are assuming that it's much, much calmer, in fact, much calmer than what it was, say, even a night before. People are going about their business as usual. But of course, the blackouts will remain in place. Border area, the restrictions will definitely be there for local people movement, at least for the next 36 to 48 hours, is what we've been told by the police and the BSF personnel. And the state government also remains on a heightened sense of alert. Extra police forces have been deployed in these border districts, and all these precautionary measures, I can now call them, will remain in place till further orders.
Joining us with that live update this morning from Jaisalmer. Well, even as India celebrates the success of Operation Sindoor, the faces of the operation, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, are being mercilessly trolled online. After Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was subjected to vicious trolling for announcing on the government's behalf a day ago that India and Pakistan had agreed for the cessation of military operations, the IAS Association has now come out in support and solidarity against the unwarranted personal attacks against the officer. Meanwhile, even the IPS, the Indian Police Service Association, has condemned the personal attacks on Mr. Misri, saying that such unwarranted assaults on civil servants committed to their duties are absolutely intolerable. This is what they have posted on X. My colleague Shiv has been tracking all the reactions since late last evening. He joins us with an update regarding this matter as well. Shiv, condemning the harassment, as you've been reporting, several diplomats, politicians, and journalists have voiced their support for Mr. Misri?
And rightfully so. I think, jobless internet trolls with no skin in the game, absolutely no recognition of the hugely historic and important things that India is doing right now for its national security, have been attacking an illustrious officer who has devoted his life to the Foreign Service and who happens to be the face now of India's messaging to the world, is something beyond condemnable. And I'm not surprised, and I'm very happy that all of these organizations organizations have come out to, condemn the horrible trolling. And this is, I wish this was something that we could simply ignore and dismiss as, an occupational hazard being on social media, etc. But I did notice many, high-profile handles, well-followed handles, whatever you want to call it, Parmeshwar, going after Vikram Misri. This is an emotional time, sure. People feel strongly, but to channelize your anger and emotions over some misdirected sense of, India having jumped into a ceasefire and using Vikram Misri to as a punching boy for that, just shows how shallow people can be and how shallow, certain emotions can really be at a time like this. So I don't think there's any forgiving it. There's no excusing it. And I'm actually hopeful that beyond condemnation, some of these handles are also acted against. Because remember, when you troll someone like Vikram Misri, who is front and center in the spotlight, high profile, I'm sure there is an element of risking the safety of himself and his family as well. And remember, the enemy is watching. Pakistan is watching all of this. And if you've got people within attacking your very own, let's make no mistake, Vikram Misri is a soldier right now. He stands for India's message, not just against Pakistan, but for the entire world that has been standing with terror proxies for so long. So this is something I hope will be handled, without absolutely any mercy.
Well, we hope so too. Thank you so much, as always, Shiv, for joining us with the lowdown. Meanwhile, I must inform our viewers that 32 airports are shut as a precaution measure. And if we talk about just Delhi, at least 97 flights were cancelled and over 150 were delayed on Sunday as the Indira Gandhi International Airport continued to reel from the closure of the 32 airports in western and northern states of India due to the ongoing hostilities with Pakistan, even as an agreement to stop all military action was reached over the weekend. According to airport data, about 96 of the 97 flights were domestic, and of these 44 were arrivals and 52 were departures. But for the latest lowdown, let's go across to my colleague Tanushka, who's been tracking all matters in terms that are related to civil aviation. Tanushka, as you've been reporting, 32 airports are shut as a precaution and some key airports are expected to be closed till the 15th of May.
Yes, Parmeshwar, these 32 airports are temporarily closed and shut for civil flight operations until the 15th of May. This was issued by the Civil Aviation Ministry, 2 days ago when the tensions were escalating amid India and Pakistan. However, of course, we have reached a ceasefire agreement, but even so, the 15th May, shutting off of these 32 airports continues to remain. These 32 airports, namely being that of Srinagar, Jammu, Leh, Amritsar, Chandigarh, Porbandar, Rajkot, Jaisalmer and Jodhpur, and mainly these areas, border areas that are that have been high tension, high risk. To name a few of these 32 airports, continue to remain shut for temporary, civil flight services. However, as far as Delhi Airport is concerned, or Mumbai Airport, Pune Airport, even Chennai Airport, continue to function normally. All of the operations at these airports are continuing as per normal. Delhi Airport, Mumbai Airport are continuously updating their passengers as well with respect to their advisories, and they continue to remain to say that the operations are fine and normal. As of yesterday, there was only one international flight, cancellation, and this was for the departures flight. The domestic arrivals saw a 44 number of flights being cancelled, and the domestic departures saw a 52 number of flights being cancelled as of yesterday at Delhi Airport. Now, what we also are hearing from the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah, he's taken to social media platform X to urge the Ministry of Civil Aviation as well as the DGCA to reopen these airports and resume the civil flight services, because as he mentions that as the ceasefire has been agreed upon, he hopes that this can be, the functions can now reopen and continue from Srinagar as well, because there are a lot of Hajis who were supposed to be in Medina already. So it is delaying the Hajj pilgrimage at this point, and these pilgrims are unable to, make their way to Makkah Medina at this point. So because of which Omar Abdullah takes to, urge on to the union government at this point to reopen these flights and these airports as well. Back to you.
Tanushka, as always, thanks so much for joining us with that update. Speaking of Omar Abdullah, the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister said the Pahalgam attack has undone years of work, both in terms of economy and diplomacy. He said it's given a jolt to the state's tourism, which had recovered after a long time, and allowed Pakistan to flag Kashmir in the international community again. In fact, to quote Mr. Abdullah, he told NDTV, "We are in a place where we didn't expect to be. We're in a place where there has been bloodshed, suffering, turmoil, upheaval. Everything has changed, and yet, in some ways, nothing has." Listen in to his exclusive interview.
It is your first interview after Pahalgam massacre. So where are we now after that incident and what we saw on the borders and here over the last 4-5 days?
Where are we? We are in a place where we didn't expect to be. We are in a place where there has been bloodshed, suffering, turmoil, upheaval. We are in a place where everything has changed, and yet in some ways nothing has changed.
Can you explain?
Everything has changed in as much as normally at this time we should have been full with tourists, booming economy, children should have been at school, airport should have been functioning with 50-60 flights a day, whereas the valley is empty, schools we've had to close, airport is closed, airspace is closed, and yet when I say nothing has changed, Pakistan has by design unfortunately again managed to internationalize the question of Jammu and Kashmir. The ceasefire, which until the last few days had held in spite of whatever other difficulties exist in the relations between India and Pakistan. Today that ceasefire has been in tatters. We await to see what happens tonight. So that's why I say so much has changed, and then in some ways so little has changed.
But the fact is there's a larger question is that when that massacre happened, it changed everything when it comes to the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Till that time we were saying militancy, separatism, everything is a thing of past.
Well, it changed once and for all, once again, the perception of Jammu and Kashmir, and it changed it for the worse. Okay. Jammu and Kashmir was a place where, like you said, tourism was bustling, and it wasn't just sort of tourism in terms of numbers. It was also tourism in terms of value. You are seeing high-spending tourists who did not mind spending even up to ₹1,00,000 a night for a hotel room. Today, that part of our economy lies in tatters. Those who were actively engaged by hotels, restaurants, shops, they are sort of in the process of being disengaged. Then coupled with that, people had taken loans to buy taxis, to buy deluxe buses, to convert rooms into homestay, to convert smaller houses into guest houses or hotels. All of that now adds to sort of an economic pressure. These people will be knocking on the government doors for jobs that are already in short supply. So the long-term effects of what happened in Pahalgam, we will be counting for some time to come.
Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview to NDTV, Congress MP and Chief of Parliamentary Panel of Foreign Affairs, Shashi Tharoor, backed the India-Pakistan ceasefire, saying it was the right decision, as a full-fledged war was not the right decision to take at this point. Mr. Tharoor also chided those who were calling for an all-out war and calling the decision a failure, saying that those comments were unfounded. Listen into his full remarks.
Many of the leaders in opposition are raising these questions. They are also strategic affairs and military experts, some of whom have criticized India's decision to agree to a ceasefire with Pakistan, calling it a repeat of past mistakes, even going to the extent of saying that India snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Then there are those who say that in those these 4 days when our forces carried out Operation Sindoor first and then managed to strike at the military bases, all retaliatory in nature, it was a defining moment in India's defense and strategic history. What are your thoughts, sir?
It was a very, very good moment. But listen, some of these people are clearly in the camp of those who wanted a quote-unquote war to finish off Pakistan. I think that is frankly fatuous. I do not believe we could have indulged in a war to finish off Pakistan, number one. Number two, I don't think that we could have achieved that outcome, given that Pakistan of today is, for all its stagnant economy and all its problems, it still is a country with a very considerable army, and as we've seen, with some friends who are willing to supply it with rather sophisticated weaponry. I personally don't think that a government that is focused on the development of the country should have embarked on any further adventure. I think, personally, I applaud the ceasefire. I would have applauded it if it happened the previous day, and I would have applauded it if it happened the next day. My logic was exactly the same as I was hearing from the strong briefings given by our government, which is we are responding to Pakistani hostilities. We are not the ones who are initiating anything. The one thing we initiated was a reprisal for a terror attack. Once that reprisal was done, we were done. If Pakistan had said, sorry, goodbye, we would have stopped then and there. Pakistan chose to shell us, we shelled them back. Pakistan chose to send us a swarm of Turkish drones, we destroyed the drones, and we sent some missiles and projectiles back on the other direction. Pakistan then chose to attack our cities and attack our military bases. We wiped out their air bases, their airfields. I think it was simply retaliatory on India's part. And I think everything we did was extremely well done. But none of it, I repeat, was because India was interested in initiating a war. That was never on the cards. We were always saying we wanted to prove a point. We proved that point. Now, you tell us when you're ready to stop. If you don't want to stop, we'll keep hammering you. And they stopped. Good message.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
India's IT capital is always bustling, a city full of startups, stories and surprises. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
Welcome back. After 4 days of intense hostilities that saw the two sides targeting each other's military installations with drones, missiles and long-range weapons and raised fears of an all-out conflict, the DGMOs of India and Pakistan are going to be connecting again on the hotline at noon today. This after they reached an understanding on halting all military actions on Saturday afternoon. But amid Operation Sindoor, for the first time, DGMO had briefed the media and revealed details of the losses and damages suffered by the Pakistan Army. This included 11 air bases in Pakistan being destroyed. They confirmed that over 100 terrorists were killed, and the Pakistan Army lost 35 to 40 personnel. India has categorically said they were prepared to strike Karachi, but tragically 5 members of the Indian forces have lost their lives. The government, though, has said Operation Sindoor was an absolute success. India destroyed 9 high-value terror launch pads across Pakistan and PoJK, and India struck targets even in Pakistan's Punjab province, which is considered a strategic stronghold of Pakistan's military. India struck its sensitive terror hubs such as Bahawalpur, as we've been extensively covering on NDTV, places which even the United States had not dared to send its drones. So with this, for the first time, India decisively rejected the distinction between terrorists and their sponsors, taking action against both. In fact, to take this further, we have with us on the podcast at the moment, joining us, Defence Analyst, Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan. Also with us, Strategic Affairs Expert, Dr. Brahmachalani. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan, to you first. We're talking about 9 terror camps hit, including ones in Pakistan's heartland like Bahawalpur. Sir, would you say this is the boldest signal yet that India no longer plays by the old rules?
Good evening. Thank you for getting me on your show. This is the 3rd time that we have struck targets in Pakistan. 2016 was first, 2019 was second, and this is the 3rd time we have gone across in a big manner. The objective that was laid down was to target the terror camps or terror establishments in Pakistan. 4 of them were in Pakistan and 5 of them were in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And this target has been achieved. And thereafter, the escalation was based on what Pakistan did. So if Pakistan did something, then we did a counteraction to that. That is the way the escalation kept going up a little bit. Now, since the ceasefire has been announced, I get a feeling that we have achieved whatever we aimed to achieve. And thereafter, I think we have gone in for this kind of a ceasefire. That is a message that we get from all the briefings and other things that we have received. And in addition, even after the ceasefire, the Pakistan armed forces were actually sending the drones as well as doing the artillery fire. But that also seems to have stopped. I think you just flashed the message saying that the last night was one of the peaceful nights in the last few days. And I think ceasefire is now starting to hold. Now, henceforth, what we need to do is something that we need to think about. And as far as we are concerned, we are not relenting on any of the other measures that we announced on 23rd of April. The IWT being held in abeyance, the diplomatic relations being reduced, all those things are going to be continuing. And we also said that we're not decided on any of the talks as yet. So this is the status we are in. As far as military action is concerned, I think it has been stopped. But the other actions, what we are set to do, is still continuing. That is the way I see this.
So as Lieutenant General Narasimhan is saying that we have achieved whatever we aim to achieve. Dr. Chelani, India has sent a message that terror and its backers are indistinguishable. But take us through the broader strategic ramifications of this posture, sir, especially in a nuclear neighborhood.
India and Pakistan are not the only nuclear armed countries involved in conflict. If you take the Ukraine war, the world's largest nuclear weapon states are locked in a dangerous confrontation for more than 3 years, a confrontation that threatens the very survival of humanity. You have on one side the three Western nuclear powers, the US, France, and Britain, confronting Russia, the country that has the largest nuclear weapons arsenal in the world, and even more recently, a fifth nuclear-armed country, North Korea, has joined on Russia's side. So in that larger global context, India-Pakistan confrontation looks a much smaller risk to the world. And yet, because of the West-centric approach of the international media, the international media outlets tend to focus on the nuclear dimension on the Indian subcontinent while ignoring the global threat posed by the Ukraine war. But I think taking forward what the general was saying, it was clear from last evening's briefing by the military leaders that India gained the upper hand in a very short military campaign that lasted only 3 days. But the question it raised was that once we gained the upper hand, why did we not press home that advantage? Why did we abruptly, at the political level, accept a ceasefire?
Right.
Why did we allow the US to mediate and persuade us to accept a ceasefire? These are questions that need to be answered, because
Absolutely.
when you undertake a military mission, you need to take it to its logical conclusion. There has to be a definitive outcome of a military mission. Now, if you terminate a military mission before that tangible outcome, an outcome that the world can see, then what happens is that, and we're seeing that now, we are seeing rehyphenation of India and Pakistan. We are seeing how from Trump down, Western leaders now are talking about not the core issue of cross-border terrorism, but they are resurrecting Kashmir as the core issue that needs to be resolved in order to have peace on the subcontinent. In other words, they're singing from Pakistan's playbook. And this is the unfortunate aspect, because if you do not take your military campaign to a definitive outcome, the pairing of the rival parties begins. This is not the first time in modern history that this has happened. Every time when there is a lack of a definitive outcome, the pairing of rival parties has become inevitable.
Right. Lieutenant General Narasimhan, on that note, given the deep strikes into Pakistani Punjab and the damage inflicted on Pakistan's air assets, have we now crossed a psychological threshold in military signaling?
I think, just one point about what Dr. Brahmacharani mentioned. You see, this comparing of hyphenating of India and Pakistan started even before the ceasefire. In fact, when Mr. Trump started saying that both are my friends, I am willing to mediate, etc., obviously he was hyphenating even at that point. So I think that is something which has happened even earlier than when the ceasefire went. The other point is when you want to take something, when you mean something as a logical conclusion, that we need to decide on what is that logical conclusion. Are we going for a full-scale conflict? Are we going for something else? That is something that we need to be discussing, and I am sure that was discussed and then debated in the government and the armed forces circles. Now, coming to your question, for the last about 15 to 20 years, Pakistan has been dangling this nuclear thing in front of us and saying that they've got the nuclear weapon and so you cannot do anything to us. I think both 16, 19, and 25 has proved that there is a lot can be done under the nuclear threshold, and that is one message that has gone to Pakistan. Okay. The second message that has gone to Pakistan is we will come across and sort out targets if you try and inflict casualties on us, inflict damage on us. These two are very clear messages that have gone to Pakistan. Pakistan may keep denying that they didn't seek the ceasefire, etc. But the very fact that they have been hit hard has sent a message to them, and they knew that they cannot sustain it. That is the reason that they did not actually move the forces anywhere. The ground forces or other forces did not move, actually speaking. They only did things with drones and other things which are peripheral. So that is the way, that is the message that has gone. I think Pakistan has got a very clear message on this.
Right.
And let's see as to how we go forward on this.
Well, Dr. Chilani, meanwhile, as we wrap, many assert that India has redrawn the red lines, not just for Pakistan, but also for global players who were used to calling for restraint. Citing that earlier India would be told to show restraint, now many argue that the world seems to be silent, even supportive. Would you argue that India's diplomatic narrative on terror has finally succeeded?
Unfortunately, no. The opposite has happened. Before Operation Sindoor was launched, there were calls even from the US administration. For example, Marco Rubio publicly called on Pakistan to dismantle the terror networks that it may have on its soil. He said that Pakistan should arrest terrorists that it may be harboring. These were his words. After Operation Sindoor was prematurely terminated by India after just 3 days of operations, the US narrative now is, and this is clear from Trump's own language, he sees not cross-border terrorism as an issue. In fact, he is silent, totally silent on cross-border terrorism as the core issue, or even as an issue, not even an acknowledgement from Trump that the issue that caused military hostilities, cross-border terrorism, needs to be addressed. Instead, he says that he wants to mediate and help solve the Kashmir dispute. He's implicitly seeking to advance Pakistan's long-standing agenda. And this is the unfortunate part of it, because, and we have seen over decades now that when the Indian armed forces gain military edge in combat, at the political level, we squander that advantage. It happened in 1948, it happened in 1965, it happened in 1971, especially at the 1972 Simla conference. It happened in 1999 during the Kargil conflict, and it's happened again. Why is it that at a critical time when the Indian armed forces have demonstrated to the enemy and to the world and to the Indian public that they have gained the upper hand on the battlefield, then we abruptly halt operations, military operations, and accept an outcome that does not inflict clear humiliation on the enemy?
Well, we'll wait and
I must
watch
add one point.
If I could add one point. After that hotline talk that's supposed to happen at noon today. Gentlemen, I'm told I'm completely out of time on this discussion, but thank you so much for making time for us and joining us on NDTV. We will, of course, revert to you for regular updates and analysis on the current situation. Meanwhile, Salman Khurshid had said Pakistan has to understand that terrorism is unacceptable, else no amount of dialogues will reach the desired conclusion. Meanwhile, he added, India cannot be too optimistic and drop her guard. Listen in to Mr. Khurshid's full remarks.
Salman Khurshid, former External Affairs Minister and senior Congress leader, is joining us live. Mr. Khurshid, this is a question to the former External Affairs Minister. This was the most intense fighting between the two countries in 2 decades, sir. How do you see the situation after the ceasefire, and how have the terms of engagement changed between Delhi and Islamabad?
Well, I sincerely hope the ceasefire holds. People have opinions about the ceasefire, and I'm sure that there is a range of points of view. But the ceasefire has happened. Unfortunately, last night there were many reports about the ceasefire not being strictly adhered to, and that raised some doubts. But I imagine since then, the matter seems to have settled down, and the ceasefire, at least for the present, will hold. And on the 12th, which is tomorrow, there will be another round between the DGMOs And therefore, if there is something that needs to be ironed out, I hope that will be ironed out. Now, of course, we've learned a lot because technology has started playing a very major role in the way wars are fought now. And this has become apparent, very critically, this has become apparent during the course of the 4 days. But I think that once all this is over, people will take stock and then assess as to what is achieved and how much more could be done. That will come in due course. This is perhaps not the time to be analyzing those things.
Mr. Khurshid, successive Indian governments have, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi's, tried to better relations with Pakistan in the interest of the people of both the countries. But Pakistan has always dealt in treachery. What do you think is the way forward for us, particularly with regards to our neighbor? And having achieved ceasefire, where do we go from here on?
Well, I think there are many loose ends yet, not very clear, that ceasefire obviously must be succeeded by talks. But what will be the format of talks and the structure of talks is, I think, a big question. And ideologically, India has had some issues here, which I think are very well known. Since the ceasefire seems to have come at the partial, perhaps, if not the entire initiative of the US government and the US leadership, we'll have to see where that stands once the DGMOs talk and once a formal structure is figured out as to how we move forward. But clearly, no matter what we do and no matter what we try to reach out on, ultimately there's a bottom line, and that bottom line is terrorism. Now, we've said in our explanatory manner that if there is terrorism, even now, it'll be treated as an act of war. Now, why act of war with ceasefire, etc., you know the implications. But ultimately, Pakistan has to come to terms with that clear articulation that terrorism is unacceptable in any form or manifestation. And unless that is done, I don't think that there is a chance for a great deal to be achieved or accomplished.
Meanwhile, in his first ever interview, India's top defense scientist asserts that India won Operation Sindoor since India's Swadeshi weapon systems like BrahMos, Akash and anti-drone systems played a critical role, and Pakistan had no assessment of their capabilities. Speaking exclusively to Pallav Bagla, the former advisor to Defense Minister and head of the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, Dr. G. Satish Reddy emphasized the enemy should be very afraid of India's capabilities. Listen in.
What is your first reaction about Operation Sindoor, its success, and which are the 3 or 4 indigenously developed systems which played a decisive role?
Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the leadership of the country for the decisions taken and the armed forces for the very effective operations what they have carried out. This war, what has happened is completely different from the earlier warfare where technology has played a major role. Indigenous technology played a major role. The systems like the BrahMos missile, a supersonic cruise missile, the Akash air defense system, the medium range system, and the drones and anti-drone systems which have been deployed. These are all indigenously which have been developed here. What we are hearing the reports from the media that they have been deployed and they have played a very effective role. They have pulled down many aircrafts, almost all the drones, everything have been brought down, and then we have struck very accurately the important bases deep inside Pakistan. This shows the capability what India has now. The Indian technological prowess has been proven in this war.
Are you happy? Are you elated that the outcome is what it is today based on systems which were developed by you and your teams?
Extremely happy. All the scientists are very happy, and even the entire countrymen are very happy that India could develop the advanced systems like any other advanced nation and have worked very effectively, efficiently.
Enemy should be very afraid of entangling with us.
Now they have come to know what is the technological capability of this country and what it can deliver and what can make. So I am sure he will be careful.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaroop, only on NDTV 24/7.
In the last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Naval Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Jaggi brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
Welcome back. Let's take you through the big international headlines we're tracking at the moment. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said he expected to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Turkey this week in what could mark a turning point for the war. Mr. Zelensky's announcement that he will be waiting for Putin personally came a day after European leaders gathered in Kyiv to pressure Moscow to accept an unconditional 30-day ceasefire. Ukraine had previously said that it wouldn't enter into direct talks without a truce already in place, and to do otherwise was seen as a show of weakness of Ukraine and its partners blinking first, is what some analysts have pointed out. But the Ukrainian leader likely does not want to lose favor with US President Donald Trump, because hours before Zelensky's announcement on Sunday, Trump had again urged him to meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Just listen in to what the Kremlin had to say regarding the matter.
President Putin is open for peace negotiations without any preconditions. We thought that President Trump was going to use his enormous influence over Ukraine to get Ukraine closer to the idea of negotiations. Ukraine is trying to escape from negotiations.
Stopping for a quick break, back in a moment. Do stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
more news that matters.
Big exclusive. Tulsi Gabbard gunned down by Pakistan-backed cowards.
When you interact with people on ground, you're able to reflect their sentiments much.
Welcome back. The United States touted substantial progress following 2 days of trade talks with China and Switzerland, with details of a possible deal set to be announced later today, perhaps tonight. The outcome of this meeting, which Donald Trump characterized as a total reset without going into specifics, could have vast ramifications for the global economy. And Trump's China tariffs have upended international trade, disrupting supply chains and sending shockwaves through markets. So this is a development we're keeping a close eye on. And switching tracks, well, free flights and cash bonuses, they're just some of the things inside Trump's new plan for migrants who self-deport from the United States. Titled Project Homecoming, this new program will end up saving taxpayers in the US billions and billions of dollars, Trump claims. This report brings you the details.
US President Donald Trump has come up with a new policy in his quest to free America of illegal immigrants. Trump ordered the US Department of Homeland Security to recruit at least 20,000 officers who can ensure the smooth enforcement of his new self-deportation policy, dubbed as Project Homecoming. Trump recently shared a video on Truth Social announcing the latest update in his visa policy. The Trump government launched the first ever self-deportation program that allows illegal immigrants to exit the country via the CBP Home app.
Today I signed an executive order to launch the first ever self-deportation program for illegal aliens. We are making it as easy as possible for illegal aliens to leave America. Any illegal alien can simply show up at an airport and receive a free flight out of our country.
The self-deportation program offers free flights for illegal immigrants to any foreign country to ensure their exit from the U.S. It also incentives self-deportation through a $1,000 exit bonus. Trump claims that with the deportation bonus, the U.S. will save American taxpayers billions. Trump threatened harsh punishments for those who don't self-deport, including legal repercussions, prison sentences, large fines, asset seizures, and wage garnishment. Trump also condemned former President Biden's term for his lax policy on illegal immigrants. Biden had launched the CBP One app to help individuals seeking asylum or entering the U.S. through certain channels to schedule appointments at ports of entry. Yet under Trump, the app has been weaponized to target illegal immigrants. Trump also revoked visas of international students and workers, including those under F1 and H-1B visas, due to student support for pro-Palestinian protests. Trump has made it clear there's no negotiating with illegal immigrants. For him, it is America first and only for Americans. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India. bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
India's IT capital is always bustling, a city full of startups, stories and surprises. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
In today's
Ceasefire holds along the line of control and international border. Army says no incidents. It's the first calm night in recent days. Top military level talks on hotline today. India-Pakistan DGMOs will speak at 12 noon. Support grows for Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, who was trolled online. IAS and IPS officers associations back Misri. Pakistan trolls, in fact, targeted Indian officials. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah speaks to NDTV for the first time since Pahalgam incident. Omar Abdullah says need to build public support against terrorism. United States announces major trade deal with China. This is a sudden and significant breakthrough in the relationship between the two countries. Asian markets rise to US-China trade deal. US President Donald Trump demands Ukraine-Russia talks. Zelensky, in fact, offers to meet Putin in Turkey this week. It's been the first night at LOC and international border after the ceasefire violations when there has been no incident at all. A calm night, that's what India is waking up to. The situation has been tensed, but relative calm. There is a semblance of calmness in areas along the LOC and international border. No incidents reported overnight. There is calm and normalcy in Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and top military level talks will be held today. Border areas, in fact, across India's northern and western fronts, remember, remained peaceful on Sunday through the day yesterday after the understanding which was reached between India and Pakistan on halting military actions after 4 days of escalating tensions. And conflict and uneasy calm prevailed in Jammu and Kashmir, and there is no ceasefire violation or drone activity recorded. Shivaroor is joining us from Srinagar. We also have Gurpreet from Firozpur. Shiv, coming to you. You've been on ground for now over 2 weeks. What does this morning look to you in Srinagar? You know, on the basis of your own personal experience, Shiv.
It is actually surreal to receive the Indian Army's message this morning saying that last night was the first night which was largely peaceful and no major incidents of any violations of any kind, because the Army consistently since the beginning of this season of tensions between India and Pakistan has had updates about ceasefire violations, drone attacks and things like that. We ourselves have seen it firsthand, both at the line of control and even here in the airspace over Srinagar. On the second day after this understanding was reached between India and Pakistan, right in the middle of very, very high-octane combat between the two sides, it seems after those initial troubles, initial violations that took place night before last night was largely peaceful. I have to admit I didn't get very much sleep last night because there was a belief that there would be updates from our contacts in different parts of the line of control in the Kashmir sector and in the Jammu sector as well. There were rumors right through the night of firing and drone attacks, etc. But it's good to see that the army has now put all of that to rest and said that this has been the first peaceful night with no incidents whatsoever. Obviously, this sets the stage for the conversation over the hotline between the two Director Generals of Military Operations, Major General Kashif Abdullah of Pakistan, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai of India. This is, of course, prefixed by a message that was sent by the Indian DGMO to his counterpart yesterday, just before that briefing by the armed forces, where it was conveyed in no uncertain terms that the initial violations past that understanding may be explained as some teething troubles or some units not getting the message in time, etc. But from this night onwards was the real test, and since it's gone peacefully, I think the decks are cleared for hopefully some kind of a healthy conversation put between the two DGMOs. And let's make no mistake, it means that Pakistan has got the message as well.
That's right. So India managed to achieve the objective of Operation Sindoor and perhaps set a new template. This is the new normal between the two countries, that if there is a terror activity on Indian soil, then Pakistan will have to face military action from India, where not only it's the terror hubs inside Pakistan will be targeted, but also military air bases. Shiv, when we say DGMO talks happen, what is their mandate like, in the sense that agenda we know, but what do those talks really mean?
Well, these talks are very structured talks. Ever since the ceasefire that was renewed between the two countries in 2021 during the COVID pandemic, after a whole year of ceasefire violations by Pakistan in the first year of COVID-19, the hotline was obviously renewed and activated, and it was decided that the two Director Generals of Military Operations or senior officers from the Directorate General of Military Operations would have a conversation at least once a week. That structured conversation is supposed to happen on Tuesday. In times of emergency or conflict, or when there's a high octane action happening on the LOC, obviously these conversations can happen anytime. The word hotline obviously means that there is instant access because of the urgency of the situation. These conversations, like I said, happen every Tuesday. They've happened right through this season of tensions. Obviously the conversations have happened on days apart from Tuesday because of Operation Sindoor, the huge numbers of ceasefire violations, and past that, a ceasefire understanding between the two countries, the two officers have also been talking to each other. So it's important because there is an exchange of information. It's also important because as relations between the two countries have completely deteriorated in the last few weeks and months, and especially in the last 20 days that we've been reporting from here in the aftermath of Pahalgam, it's important to note that the two DGMOs talking every Tuesday was literally the only official point of contact between the two countries. There was hardly any diplomatic contact. There was pressure on the High Commission as well. So as far as the military was concerned, it was the only point of contact. And sometimes, having communication is really a message and somewhat keeps the peace. With Pakistan, it's always unpredictable, of course. Even now, India's guard is fully up. It's not going to be winding down the war machine anytime soon, but at least we know that the agenda is set for this conversation.
All right, Shiv, thank you so much. I won't be holding you much for now. You can have your breakfast perhaps in Srinagar today. You have been working relentlessly non-stop. Let me bring in Gurpreet now. Gurpreet joins us. Gurpreet, what is it looking like this morning in Firozpur? New advisories, and did the blackout happen last night? And will the schools reopen? So that when we talk about uneasy, calm and moving away to normalcy, near normalcy, is this the new normal?
Well, yes, there is a total normalcy, and we have been reporting from various border villages. First of all, I'll request my Vijay to show all these pictures. We have seen the people they are out, they are on the morning walk, we will talk to them. And yesterday we have seen a lot of families which had already been shifted from various border villages to the various locations. They have also come back. We had also reported that the families, we met the families also. We have gone to various villages. But as of now, if we can talk about the administration side, we have seen the border area of Punjab is also on the alert. There is no specific advisory, no restriction which has been imposed by the local administration, but they have taken a lot of precautions, and what we have learned in the border area, school have already been shut down for today. So we will talk to these people who are a resident of Firozpur. तो अभी पूरी लाइफ नॉर्मल होगी?
सभी अब आज की डेट में तो थोड़ा सा रिलीफ मिला है। जैसे पिछले कई दिनों से फिरोजपुर में काफ़ी पैनिक था, तो अभी आज ही हम अपनी रूटीन लाइफ में आए हैं। आज ही बच्चों के स्कूल शुरू होने वाले हैं और साथ में ही हम अपनी जिम वगैरह कर रहे हैं। तो जो सिचुएशन है वो काफ़ी वर्स थी। हमने अपनी लाइफ में कभी ऐसी सिचुएशन देखी नहीं, लेकिन जैसे भी 22 अप्रैल को पाकिस्तान ने श्रीनगर के ऊपर जो निहत्थे लोगों के ऊपर वार किया है, उन सभी का हम पूरे हिंदुस्तान के पूरे फिरोजपुर के निवासी सब इसका कंडेम करते हैं।
पर लास्ट नाइट अच्छी निकली, क्योंकि पहले ब्लैकआउट होता था, अब तो वॉलंटरली ब्लैकआउट बोला है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने बोला है कि आप अपने चाहे तो लाइटें बंद रखो, अलर्ट रहो, लेकिन अब नींद आराम से आई?
सर नींद बिल्कुल आराम से आई, क्योंकि पिछले 3-4 दिनों से ना एसी चल रहे थे, ना हम घर पे लाइट जगा सकते थे। हमको तो वो पुराने दिन याद आ गए जब हम कैंडल लगाकर, जब लाइट चली जाती थी हम कैंडल लगाते थे, टॉर्च का यूज़ करते थे। तो पिछले 3-4 दिनों से घर पे हम टॉर्च लगवा रहे थे। हम तो जनरेटर भी नहीं चला सकते थे, सिर्फ अपना मोबाइल पे ही काम कर सकते थे। जैसे कि हमारे घर वाले मोबाइल की लाइट पे खाना बना रहे थे, तो ये देखने में तो काफ़ी बड़ा और तरह का फील हो रहा था।
2 दिन पहले देखा बड़ी फैमिलीज यहाँ से शिफ्ट होगी, जब ड्रोन्स लगातार आने शुरू हुए, जब ड्रोन अटैक हुए, एक फैमिली इंजर्ड भी होगी।
सर फिरोजपुर तो मेरे हिसाब से आधा ही खाली हो गया था। काफ़ी फैमिली, कोई लुधियाना शिफ्ट होगी, कोई चंडीगढ़ शिफ्ट होगी, कोई मोगा शिफ्ट होगी, या हरियाणा में शिफ्ट होगी। लेकिन हमको अपने आर्मी वालों के साथ खड़े होना चाहिए। अगर वो हमारी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमें भी हमारा फ़र्ज बनता है कि हम भी उनकी सपोर्ट करें। हमें भागना नहीं चाहिए कहीं पे।
बिल्कुल। तो कुल मिला के आप साइकिलिंग कर रहे हैं, सुबह देख रहे हैं, जिम भी जा रहे हैं, तो क्या कुल मिला के पूरी जहाँ पे बॉर्डर एरिया में पूरी लाइफ नॉर्मल होगी?
सर आज हालात सही लग रहे हैं, जैसे नॉर्मल लग रहे हैं। हम अपने डेली रूटीन में वापस आ गए हैं, लेकिन जो 2 दिन हालात रहे हैं वो बड़े पैनिक थे, बड़ा गलत माहौल था। लड़ाई कभी भी किसी भी चीज़ के लिए अच्छी नहीं है। जो 2 दिन का माहौल रहा था, बच्चे डर गए, सारे फैमिली से छोड़ के बाहर जा रही थी, बहुत बुरा हाल था। लेकिन जैसे ही चाहे प्रशासन ने कल बोला कि हालात सही है, सभी डेली रूटीन में वापस आ गए हैं। हम अपनी जिम शुरू कर रहे हैं, सारे अपने कारोबार पे जा रहे हैं। 2 दिन में पूरे कारोबार बंद रहे हैं, सारा कुछ बंद था, बुरा हाल था। लेकिन हमें फिर भी प्रशासन के साथ चलना चाहिए, जैसा उन्होंने बोला उसी के साथ हमें चलना चाहिए था।
पर आज स्कूल बंद किए गए हैं, लेकिन बाकी मार्केट सब कुछ खुला हुआ है, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं अभी भी प्रिकॉशंस लिए जा रहे हैं। कोई आपको कोई इंस्ट्रक्शन तो नहीं? क्योंकि पहले हम देख रहे हैं कि लगातार सायरन बज रहा था, लगातार लोग पैनिक हो रहे थे।
सर प्रशासन की तरफ से कल इंस्ट्रक्शंस आई थी कि आपने 8 बजे अपने घर की लाइटें बंद करनी है, लेकिन उन्होंने ये ज़रूरी निकाल बोला कि हम भी ज़रूरी है। बस हमें भी, अब हमारी भी ये बनती है कि हम भी, अगर प्रशासन ने बोला, हमें उसके साथ चलना चाहिए। बाकी स्कूल आज बंद है, स्कूल कल से खुलने शुरू हो जाएंगे। कारोबार चल पड़े हैं, लोग आना जाना शुरू कर दिए हैं। लोग जो वापस गए थे, छोड़ के गए थे, वो वापस आना उन्होंने शुरू कर दिया है। कुल मिला के हालात अभी तक तो सही लग रहे हैं, लेकिन बाकी देखो क्या बनता है जी।
तो अपना आराम से फैमिली के साथ बैठ रहे हैं, टाइम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, बच्चे बाहर आ रहे हैं, तो कैसे लग रहा है जो 2-3 दिन का?
सर पहले तो फिरोजपुर में काफ़ी पैनिक सिचुएशन थी, लेकिन आज की डेट में बच्चे भी आ रहे हैं, बाहर आ रहे हैं, हम साइकिलिंग बच्चों के साथ कर रहे हैं, बच्चों के साथ घूमने जा रहे हैं, तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है। लेकिन ये 3 दिनों का, ये हमारी ज़िंदगी का सबसे वर्स्ट टाइम था जो हमने 3 दिनों में ये सिचुएशन देखी। हम अपनी छत पे चढ़ रहे थे, ड्रोन वगैरह ऐसे उड़ रहे थे जैसे कोई दिवाली के पटाखे वगैरह चल रहे होते हैं। तो पहली बार देखा तो बच्चे भी डर रहे थे, हम खुद डर रहे थे, तो भगवान के चलो सारा सिस्टम सेट हो गया।
These are the voices from Firozpur. We have seen there is no restriction has been imposed by the local administration, but in the border area of Punjab, whether it's Gurdaspur, Pathankot, Amritsar or Firozpur, we have seen some precautions are being taken, and they have also advised the people not to come out of their houses if there is no necessary work. But at the same time, we have seen, we have got a lot of reaction from the people that there is a total normal life in border area of Punjab. Back to studio.
All right, thank you so much for getting us those bites and sound of people, you know, I would say voices of people early morning. Gurpreet, thank you so much for joining us. And remember, there was a press conference which was held yesterday, which had all those officers who were leading this entire Operation Sindoor from multiple fronts, from Navy to Army to Air Force, addressed the media. Let's listen in to what Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, who is the DGMO of India, had to say, and other officers.
I have no doubt in my mind that we achieved total surprise, and those strikes across those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed, including high-value targets such as Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf, and Mudassir Ahmed that were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast.
A decision was taken to strike where it would hurt. And towards that, in a swift, coordinated, calibrated attack, we struck his air bases, command centers, military infrastructure, air defense systems across the entire Western Front. The bases we struck include Chaklala, Rafiki, and mind you, Chaklala is Islamabad. Rahim Yar Khan, Sakar, sending a clear message that aggression will not be tolerated.
Operation Sindoor, remember, marked a significant demonstration of India's military and strategic prowess through a blend of military and non-military means. There were PSYOPs as well at play here, and the Indian Navy and Indian Air Force, and I would say the entire Indian Armed Forces, clearly saying that they stunned Pakistan. The big takeaway of this press conference, Shiv, particularly those officers, those generals who were actually leading this entire Operation Sindoor from multiple fronts.
What an incredible message it sends out that the chiefs of operations of the 3 armed forces, conducted this joint press conference. It was stupendous in every way. And, as a journalist, I think it was a template for how communications ought to be done, unlike the histrionics and the exaggerations and the chest thumping that the Pakistanis do in their press conferences. This one was professional. It was clipped. It was crisp. They answered all questions. They, released all information. They had an absolutely amazing presentation of visual evidence of battle damage of all those targeted sites in Pakistan. So this really is something that all journalists who attended and watched are going to remember. For me personally, I think, given that there had been quite some substantial updates, Maria, regarding the Indian Air Force operations, obviously the strikes on the terror sites as well as the air bases, and the army actions including missile strikes, action on the line of control, etc. The Navy was a bit of an enigma. There had been rumors about what the Navy was doing, and boy, what one hell of a headline they gave us at this briefing. The Navy basically revealed in no uncertain terms, with no ambiguity, that far from being just called the silent service, it was out there, far out in the North Arabian Sea, creating a dramatic blockade of the Pakistan Navy, completely confining them to their ports, not allowing them to leave their ports and get into operational areas or very close to the port or the harbor. And most crucially, that the Indian Navy was primed and ready, to bomb the Karachi harbor and reduce it to rubble, to its energy sites, to its oil tanks. It would have been something that they had done the previous time only during the 1971 war. So the amazing details of information, the kind of troubling aspect of how a single escalation by Pakistan could have meant, BrahMos or other missiles flying from Indian Navy ships and smashing into Karachi boggles the mind. That could have been very much the next step in that escalation. And I can guarantee you that the Indian Navy is not kidding when they say they were primed and ready. The target information was fed in. Everything was set, for a strike on Karachi. That didn't happen because that ceasefire agreement finally came into check. But the Indian Navy, also called the Silent Service, was completely ready. Also, amazing levels of information in terms of visual evidence by the Army and the Air Force. So we have a very clear picture of why that quote-unquote understanding was something that Pakistan needed and requested.
Sense certainly is the shift that a new red line has been drawn, and we have been saying that this is a defining moment as far as India's messaging to the world is also concerned, that if there is terror emanating from Pakistan and if Indian citizens are faring, are facing the brunt, then there has to be deterrence. But the question is, will this really act as a deterrence, knowing the kind of deep state Pakistan is? Let me bring in Aishwarya. Aishwarya, India has decisively rejected the distinction between terrorists and their sponsors, taking action against both. If Operation Sindoor Part 1 was about targeting terror hubs, Operation Sindoor Part 3 was about, targeting the military bases, the air bases. So I think that distinction, which has been long there for the longest time, that is what is now gone, and that's what India also wanted to tell the world.
Well, certainly, and DGMO Rajiv Ghai had specifically stated during the press conference that the Chief of Army Staff have given the Indian Army a full responsibility for any contract with the Pakistani misadventure. The Indian Armed Forces have full hand and a free hand, in fact, to counteract as far as any misadventures by Pakistan are concerned. On the other side, it is also, remember during the press conference, he has stated that on India's agenda would be only and only longevity of the understanding between India and Pakistan as far as the ceasefire on air and land and sea is concerned between both these sides. He also accepted yesterday that it was Pakistani side who violated on the western front the ceasefire, and at several places there were ceasefire violations that took place, but it is of course the agreements, nothing apart from it will be on the agenda, while the DGMO level talks will be happening today at 1200 hours between India and Pakistan. Very important to see as to how it pan out, how the bilateral agreement between India and Pakistan for ceasefire will go on, and whether Pakistan will obey these understandings in the future, or what would be the agreement terms and conditions imposed onto it. But it is the Indian government who had specifically stated that there would be no talks on any of the agenda. Yes, there are several reports. They have stated that the Pakistani side can bring upon the Kashmir issue, the Indus Water Treaty issue, but India had made it clear that they will not talk anything further than the agreement, the understanding that they had on the first call that they had made as Pakistani initiated on Saturday, as far as the DGMO talks level talks were concerned. I'm at the Prime Minister's residence, 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we have been reporting from this place for the last 2 weeks. Of course, Prime Minister had been briefed on a regular intervals, and today as well, when these DGMO level talks will be done, it would be, of course, the PMO would be monitoring this very, very closely.
All right, Aishwarya, let's see what is lined up for today at where you are, 7 LKM. That has been clearly the war room of sorts, with the Prime Minister himself monitoring each and every developments right from Operation Sindoor, which was conducted that night. Thank you so much, Aishwarya. And even as India celebrates the success of Operation Sindoor, the faces of the operation, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh are being mercilessly trolled online. The IS Officers Association has now come out in solidarity against the unwarranted personal attacks against the officer. The IPS Association also condemned the personal attacks on Vikram Misri, saying that such unwarranted assault on civil servants committed to their duties are absolutely intolerable, is what the IPS Association had posted on X. Remember, he is a career diplomat, and those officers were just doing their part. In fact, they were telling the world with complete sobriety and an art of communication which should be learned. as to what really had happened and how Operation Sindoor was playing out. Let's listen in to all the reactions which have come in on this story, beginning first with a quick analysis by Shivarur.
Jobless internet trolls with no skin in the game, absolutely no recognition of the hugely historic and important things that India is doing right now for its national security, have been attacking an illustrious officer who has devoted his life to the Foreign Service and who happens to be the face now of India's messaging to the world, is something beyond condemnable. And I'm not surprised, and I'm very happy that all of these organizations have come out to, condemn the horrible trolling. And this is, I wish this was something that we could simply ignore and dismiss as, an occupational hazard being on social media, etc. But I did notice many, high-profile handles, well-followed handles, whatever you want to call it, Parmeshwar, going after Vikram Misri. This is an emotional time, sure. People feel strongly, but to channelize your anger and emotions over some misdirected sense of, India having jumped into a ceasefire and using Vikram Misri to as a punching boy for that, just shows how shallow people can be and how shallow certain emotions can really be at a time like this. So I don't think there's any forgiving it. There's no excusing it, and I'm actually hopeful that beyond condemnation, some of these handles are also acted against. Because remember, when you troll someone like Vikram Misri, who is front and center in the spotlight, high profile, I'm sure there is an element of risking the safety of himself and his family as well. And remember, the enemy is watching. Pakistan is watching all of this. And if you've got people within attacking your very own, let's make no mistake, Vikram Misri is a soldier right now. He stands for India's message, not just against Pakistan, but for the entire world that has been standing with terror proxies for so long. So this is something I hope will be handled, without absolutely any mercy.
Dr. Tharoor, my last question to you, and this is with regards to very, very unfortunate trolling of Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and the...
By whom? For what?
Yes, so he is being trolled through the day, and also the two women officers who were the face of communication. Last time when we spoke, you had lauded the entire communication strategy of the government of India. I mean, it's very unfortunate that a career diplomat is being trolled in the manner in which he is being. There are a lot of negative, comments coming his way, and he has gone private. I mean, his entire X handle is now private.
I mean, I'm so sorry. I had no idea he was being trolled, and I find it preposterous. I think young Vikram Misri has done an outstanding job. He has worked very hard, very long hours, and an extremely hardworking and effective voice for India, along with the two lady officers who I think both spoke calmly, professionally, without any hysteria, and in a wonderfully impressive way. I cannot understand who on earth would troll, and I'm not even sure I understand what kind of trolling and why there was. I mean, what were they critical of? What could these people have done differently or better?
A few hours ago, the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, has been, has faced relentless trolling. And so have the two women officers, Sophia Qureshi and also Vyomika Singh. They were the face of communication for these 4 days that we have seen. How unfortunate do you think it is? I mean, to target a diplomat who has been working tirelessly, to target two officials who were presenting the decisions and actions taken by the executive and also by the military?
Well, I think it's very, very sad because we can say without any hesitation that these three have been a remarkable face of our determination, the clarity of purpose, determination, and the sense of confidence that they gave. All three of them have been remarkable, and I see no problem there at all. There are people in the country who will troll anybody for decisions that are taken at a higher level and decisions that are taken in the enlightened self-interest in modern times. We are not a country of jingoists. We are a country that believes in protecting its rights and its sovereignty, but it's also a country that believes in the nature of diplomatic interaction with the world. And constraining our top officers by putting this kind of pressure on them is very sad, really very sad. I would just salute them, and I believe that the best that we can offer to them, we should truly proud of the work they've done.
And 32 airports remain shut as a precautionary measure. Remember, these airports have been shut till May 15th. Today is 12th, so perhaps 3 more days. And advisories have been issued by airlines to passengers so that they can arrive at the airports way ahead in time, and they don't really have to stand in queues. All the big airports, all the airports in metros are functioning normally. But as far as the old advisory is concerned, these are the airports in Gujarat, in some parts of Rajasthan, and also in Punjab. Some airports in these states are shut. Let's bring in Tanushka, who is tracking the Civil Aviation Ministry. Tanushka, we are all waking up to no activity, no drone sounds, nothing which happened last night. So certainly the sense is that Pakistan is respecting the understanding which has been reached by both the nations with regards to the ceasefire. Can there be a revisit, on the list of these airports, that some airports could be open as soon as in the next couple of hours as well?
Precisely the kind of directions that is being waited upon at this point by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. However, until 15th of May, these airports, these 32 airports, will continue to remain temporarily closed, and suspension of their civil flight operations will also continue to remain until the 15th. After the 15th, of course, there will be more clarity on what is the status quo on the flight scenarios. Will the flight and the airports reopen and their operations also reopen? Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah, took to social media platform X to write about this, and he urges the Ministry of Civil Aviation as well as the DGCA to reopen these airports in Srinagar, in Jammu, and to resume civil flight operations, because this is the time when a lot of Hajis should have been in Medina already. However, because of the closure of these airports, they've not been able to make it to Makkah, Medina, and this has caused a delay in their pilgrimage journey as well. So Omar Abdullah has urged to the union government, taking stock that the ceasefire has been agreed upon, therefore to slowly and deliberately start reopening these airports, these 32 airports, some of them namely being of course at Jammu, Srinagar, Leh, Amritsar as well, Chandigarh, Porbandar, Jaisalmer, Jodhpur, to name a few of these. These are temporarily shut, and this came in from a notum from the Civil Aviation Ministry. From the airlines, we do understand that all of these airlines are also maintaining their own advisories as well with respect to their flight operations. Delhi Airport, Mumbai Airport, Pune and Chennai as well continue to function normally and operate normally as well. And these airport operations also, Delhi Airport also had, just noted a few cancellations yesterday with domestic arrivals and departures that are 44 and 52 respectively. So as of now, these major metro city airports continue to remain, function normally, but these 32 airports will remain shut until the 15th of May, until further advisory from the Civil Aviation Ministry. Back to you.
Right, Tanushka, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much. Let's bring in the guests who are joining us. Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha is joining us. We also have Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur. Really appreciate your time, sir, for joining us on NDTV this morning. Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, the press conference which was held by DGMOs, you had Air Marshal A.K. Bharti, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod and Major General S.S. Sharda addressing that press conference. These are the officers who were leading Operation Sindoor. According to you, I'm sure you were monitoring it just as journalists were, like all of us. What do you think are the big takeaway in terms of the military prowess that India has displayed?
Well, Maria, thank you for getting me on your show. I think they're very precise. They answered the questions absolutely to the point, and what was not supposed to be answered, they did not answer. They made it very clear that they haven't let their guard down. They are very much alert, particularly the Navy. They're all in forward position. The Air Force is taking action, because if there are any violations, which it was last night, those violations have been repealed. Adequately sort of actions have been taken, but there's no firing which has taken place, since probably from last night, except for twice in the evening, which was returned across the line of control. Air Force has said that all the objectives have been met. Army has said their objectives have been met, and Navy has not mentioned what are the objectives right now. But certainly their presence itself has caused merchant ships carrying oil and ammunition and a lot of their trade. They have not entered Karachi harbor. As you know, Maria, that when the naval operations begin, they issue a equivalent of a NOTAM, what is called the Nav Area Warning, which says that naval ships and submarines will be carrying out firing practice in a given area, latitude and longitude, and ships are to avoid this area, or if they enter, it will be at their own peril. This is what the warning reads. And none of the ships, would like to enter when the ships have indicated that they will do the firing. So I think that they are all quite poised, and they are quite confident. They are very, their confidence in talking actually reveals that operation has gone on quite well. There are ups and downs. You don't get something for nothing. So if there are losses on their side, there will be losses on our side as well. And we have a peacetime percentage laid down that these are acceptable. So is the wartime. They're all percentages that are acceptable, and they're all mentioned in our Union War Book, and the fighting instructions of the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy. Now there are joint documents. So I would say that it's a very good sign that three services have acted in unison. And having spent a long time, both Manmohan and I, in the IDS headquarters, AVM Manmohan Bahadur, we are really happy to see this is happening, because all of us have worked very hard for many years to see this day, and I'm glad I'm still around to see this day, Maria.
Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Navy's role, as was explained by Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod in that press conference. But before that, since you're talking about Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, in terms of your big takeaway of that press conference, what has India managed to achieve, according to you, through these 4 days? In these 4 days, what has India told its domestic audience, as much as to the Pakistanis, in terms of its military new red line in military action?
Good morning, Maria, and Jai Hind.
Good morning, sir.
It's in one word, the press conference yesterday was professional to the core. No histrionics, no bluster, just the facts. And that's what is the hallmark of a profession. And that's how those 4 professionals on the dais conveyed what has happened in the last 4 to 5 days. The nation should know, as Admiral Sinha rightly said, that in war, losses happen, and the nation should be prepared in case this ramps up. The air tasking which was given, or the tasking which was given to the Air Force, as Air Marshal Bharti, the DG Air Ops, clearly brought out, with the slides and the photographs before and after of the targets struck. A lot of their airfields are out of commission, and they will be so for a few days. Now, in any Air Force, there is something called runway rehabilitation scheme, and they bring the runways up back quickly. That's okay. But the major issue is, the point conveyed is that we can strike, and we can strike Islamabad, the Chaklala airport. And as I said, the satellite pictures convey everything. How precise they were. The strike on the Bolari airfield down south, that the hangar that was meant to be hit was hit. It was not the runway, because that was not our target. It was just that hangar. Similarly, the other AEW hangars which are there, the radars mounted on a, shall I say what, 20 meter by 20 meter cement portion, which is raised. Both those radars, the photographs of two radars that were shown, are gone. So we have conveyed the professionalism with which the operation was done. And let's not forget the army, the air defense gunners that have been active, really active in the last 5 days with their L-70, their Shilka guns, and our air defense system as a whole, which is under the IACCS, Integrated Air Command and Control System. The drones thrown at us, as brought out by the directors general yesterday, numbers 300 to 400, and all of them intercepted. I also saw on Twitter certain photos shown by their side. They had a PC press conference after ours, saying Udhampur has had damage and Jammu has had damage. I say, I have been in both the stations, served there for long, and I know people. There has been no damage, zero, zilch.
So since you're talking about it, elaborate for our viewers, then why are we continuing to see those images? I mean, alleged photoshopped images which are being put out by Pakistani handle of some kind of damage which has not occurred. Is this how perception management is done during the times that we are living in? Pure perception management for the domestic audience?
Absolutely. It's a battle of perception right now. The information warfare that is happening, the amount of, the videos that are going around, the memes going around. Unfortunately, people tend to believe that, and that's the common man on the streets. So this information warfare will continue, and we as citizens of India must know and must believe in what's been told to us officially and from official channels. The bluster that was seen in their press conference yesterday, and that was mentioned, I think, partially, is, they're putting clipped versions of our news channels. That's most unprofessional and a straight giveaway of having to tell their people something to counter what we have actually done. So information warfare, people need to be careful.
Absolutely. Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, explaining Navy's role, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod had spoken about something very interesting, that Navy remain in deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and land, including Karachi, at a time of our choosing. That was the role of Navy, Vice Admiral Sinha. And throughout this operation, be it Wing Commander Vyomika Singh or the Foreign Secretary or Colonel Qureshi, they had maintained that the response of India was measured, non-escalatory in nature, and responsible from day one. And this professional press conference of the DGMOs perhaps actually showcased how professionally it can be done, not the kind of bluster that we keep on hearing from our neighbor.
Well, let me tell you, first thing that you had also asked about the targeting, Maria.
Yes, sir.
We attacked on 9 terrorist camps, and all of them have been destroyed. So one sort of aim has been met immediately. Secondly, there were some more hideouts of the very senior functionaries of those, for all those terrorist organizations, which has been neutralized, which was deep into Bawalpur or, near Rawalpindi. Those places, the senior leadership, like you're showing Mudassar Khadia in charge of Muridke terror camp, they have been neutralized. And hopefully, they would have been lost. So the leadership of the terrorists and their camps, the training camps, have been destroyed. And one of the senior terrorists, he came out and he said that 14 people from his family have been, they have lost. But one point I want to make it very clear to our viewers, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed and, Hizbul Mujahideen, they are only, shall I say, Hindi mein bhade ka tattu jisko kehte hain, they hired people. The biggest terrorist organization is the army and ISI combined. And to remove them, you have to take out their capability, their facilities, and that's exactly what the 3 services are doing. So this must be very clear that the terrorist group in Pakistan is not these names which come up frequently, but it is the army and ISI. Till they are taken to task, these guys will keep propping up. They will lie low for some time, they will assemble again, but it is the army's leadership, and army has to be taken care. Number one. Second thing, what the Vice Admiral Pramod said, the DG Naval Operation. Two things: that Navy is absolutely present to deter. Mind you, the Navy ships and the submarines, whenever they leave harbor, Maria, they are all fully loaded with their full war outfit, right? And they have ability to hit not only to the ships at sea, but they have the ability to hit inside the land on a given target and very accurately. For example, when they say there was a BrahMos attack, you do not know who launched the BrahMos because it will not be mentioned. It's armed forces. It is possible that either the Navy or the Army or the Air Force, all three can launch and very accurately. And sadly for them, that this missile cannot be tracked because of being supersonic. And, and therefore somebody says we jammed it and this is all rubbish. Something which is going at 3 times the speed of sound, there's no question of it jamming, but it doesn't give you any time. So what the Navy is saying, that if they are told now, they will annihilate total annihilation of Karachi harbor like they did in 71. Even now, they're not very far from Karachi. Full firepower is available. None of the merchant ships or the warships of Pakistan Navy have entered or left Karachi harbor from the day they are deployed. So that is deterrence. It is the fear of getting shot.
Okay, so that's
And
deterrence
that Nav area
strong
warning
enough.
which has been issued. Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
Nav
very
area
well
warning
explained, sir. But sir, I'm going to ask both of you in 30 seconds. Please respond to my next question. What has been some very, very unfortunate trolling of Foreign Secretary and the two women officers? I mean, what kind of negativity is being spread online? They were the face of communication and they did a damn good job at it, sir.
Yes, absolutely. It's terrible what's happened on the social media, and Foreign Secretary had to make his tweets private now. His Twitter handle private. Listen, the three of them were doing their duty, and they've done it wonderfully well in a very professional manner. And the guys who are doing this are not Indians, they are anti-nationals. Let's put it this way. The three officers did their job and they did it well. And may I add that added to all this clamor of the trolling that's happening, we really do not know how many handles are from the other side, that is Pakistani side, trying to spread disaffection against our officers. Our officers are professional, whether it's civil or military, and that's it. The trolling is horrendous and must stop.
Sir, Vice Admiral Sinha, your thought on this?
Yeah, Maria, see, I mean, this is the trouble of the time. People, because the information is available readily, and secondly, it's very difficult to identify the real person behind the trolling.
Yes,
you
sir.
don't know who's doing. Quite possible people are doing from outside India, but I won't rule out that even some Indians, they are quite capable of doing things like this. I don't wish to name them, but there are people who don't have so much of nationalistic feeling. They are the ones who do this. Our officers are grade A officers, all of them. And I can tell you that it doesn't make a difference to them. They might just come up as a response, but neither Vikram Misri nor those two young officers of Army and the Air Force, they are very professional. To them, all this really don't matter, Maria. They are doing their job and they know that the job they are doing is professional. They only need to be appreciated by their bosses, which they would have done. All of us retired veteran community, as they appreciated them, we have privately told them that well done, just keep batting. So I think that these things will happen, and I don't think we should get bogged down with this, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha and Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur. We also have an exclusive interview where Nazir Masoodi has spoken to Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah. This is for the first time that Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister has spoken since Operation Sindoor. What are the big takeaways? Let's listen in.
It is your first interview after Pahalgam massacre. So where are we now after that incident and what we saw on the borders and here over the last 4-5 days?
Where are we? We are in a place where we didn't expect to be. We are in a place where there has been bloodshed, suffering, turmoil, upheaval. We are in a place where everything has changed, and yet in some ways nothing has changed.
Can you explain?
Everything has changed in as much as normally at this time we should have been full with tourists, booming economy, children should have been at school, airport should have been functioning with 50-60 flights a day, whereas the valley is empty, schools we've had to close, airport is closed, airspace is closed, and yet when I say nothing has changed, Pakistan has by design unfortunately again managed to internationalize the question of Jammu and Kashmir. The ceasefire, which until the last few days had held in spite of whatever other difficulties exist in the relations between India and Pakistan. Today that ceasefire has been in tatters. We await to see what happens tonight. So that's why I say so much has changed, and then in some ways so little has changed.
But the fact is there's a larger question is that when that massacre happened, it changed everything when it comes to the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Till that time we were saying militancy, separatism, everything is a thing of past.
Well, it changed once and for all, once again, the perception of Jammu and Kashmir, and it changed it for the worse. Jammu and Kashmir was a place where, like you said, tourism was bustling, and it wasn't just tourism in terms of numbers. It was also tourism in terms of value. You are seeing high-spending tourists who did not mind spending even up to ₹1,00,000 a night for a hotel room. Today, that part of our economy lies in tatters. Those who were actively engaged by hotels, restaurants, shops, they are sort of in the process of being disengaged. Then coupled with that, people had taken loans to buy taxis, to buy deluxe buses, to convert rooms into homestay, to convert smaller houses into guest houses or hotels. All of that now adds to sort of an economic pressure. These people will be knocking on the government doors for jobs that are already in short supply. So the long-term effects of what happened in Pahalgam, we will be counting for some time to come.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail, where stories unfold with insights and trust. When the noise ends, the last word begins.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
The last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Naval Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Junkie brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
More news that matters.
Big exclusive. Tulsi Gabbard gunned down by Pakistan-backed cowards.
When you interact with people on ground, you're able to reflect their sentiments much better.
More debates that shake the system. More exclusives you won't find anywhere else. Not just another prime time. It's a prime time that's unmissable.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters?
Ceasefire holds along the LOC and international border. Army says no incidents reported. It is the first calm night in recent days. At 12 noon is when the India-Pakistan DGMOs will take to the hotline. Top military level talks on hotline today. Government highlights the big success of Operation Sindoor. High-value terrorists killed, over 100 terrorists killed in 9 terror hubs targeted in the precision strike. IC-814 Pulwama perpetrators eliminated. Support grows for trolled Foreign Secretary. IAS IPS Officers Association back Vikram Misri. Pakistan trolls targeted Indian officers. United States announces major trade deal with China. This is a significant breakthrough in US-China trade talks. Asian markets cheer. After days of air sirens and blackouts, it appears certainly it's normalcy. All seems to be well, and the frontiers of India are calm. That's what it appears this morning. Here's a special report by Harsha, who has been reporting from Jaisalmer.
Are on a heightened sense of alertness, but life has sort of returned to normal. In fact, in the day, you can see people going about their daily business, but in the evenings, they have been asked to sort of return indoors. This is at about 7:30 in the evening when the blackout begins. So that's quite early, really, in the evening for the western districts, but that's how it is, and that's how it's going to probably remain for the next few days until the situation actually eases as far as the border districts are concerned. But having said that, there has been no activity actually reported, apart from a little bit of drone movement that some people reported from Barmer. The collector also tweeted about it. Then she also went on her Twitter handle to say that, don't give in to social media speculation. No drones have been shot over Barmer. Similarly, in Jaisalmer also, the siren went off for a few minutes in the early hours of the morning. But again, no activity reported, no sounds of explosions heard. So we are assuming that it's much, much calmer, in fact, much calmer than what it was, say, even a night before. People are going about their business as usual. But of course, the blackouts will remain in place. Border area, the restrictions will definitely be there for local people movement, at least for the next 36 to 48 hours, is what we've been told by the police and the BSF personnel. And along, the state government also remains on a heightened sense of alert. Extra police forces have been deployed in these border districts, and all these precautionary measures, I can now call them, will remain in place till further orders.
Let's go to Firozpur. That's where Gurpreet Chinna continues to report for NDTV. We have those visuals coming in from across the country. These are largely the border districts along the LOC and international border on your screens. Rajouri, Jaisalmer, Badgam, Akhnur. People have started their lives. Shops have opened. Schools, whether schools are open or not, perhaps Gurpreet will be able to explain to us. Is it an extended chutti for the children?
Well, yes, we have seen as a precaution in all the border areas of Punjab, they have already extended 1 day more holiday for the children, because they don't want to take any chance, because today there is a very crucial meeting which is going to happen on these issues. But right now we are in Firozpur. We have seen here life is total calm, life is total normal. The people have already restored their works also, their routine works. They have already started. Some of the people, we are reporting from one of the parks from Firozpur. We can see, ma'am, there is no restriction, nothing. The life is normal.
Life is all normal over here. 2 to 3 days back, it was quite scary. बट आज से बच्चों के स्कूल भी शुरू हो गए हैं. अभी कल से शुरू हो जाएंगे. आज तो अभी स्कूल बंद ही हैं. पर मार्केट्स में सब लोगों ने अपना काम शुरू कर दिया है. हॉस्पिटल सारे पूरे चल रहे हैं. एंड एवरीथिंग इज़ फाइन. वी आर क्वाइट एट पीस. जंग आपा जीत गया. जय जवान जय किसान.
आप डॉक्टर हो तो आपने हॉस्पिटल जाना आना शुरू कर दिया, क्योंकि आप
भी बंद ही नहीं किया था. हमने कभी बंद ही नहीं किया था. हम ब्लैकआउट के टाइम भी काम कर रहे थे.
लेकिन अभी कह रहे हैं कि ब्लैकआउट वॉलंटरली है, कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है.
फिरोजपुर में ब्लैकआउट का पूरा पालन हो रहा है.
तो आप भी देख रहे हैं, मॉर्निंग वॉक कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, कुछ लोग जिम जा रहे हैं, तो पूरा नॉर्मल हो गया.
सब पहले तो काफ़ी सिचुएशन काफ़ी पैनिक थी, लेकिन आज की डेट में जैसे कल से बच्चों के स्कूल खुल जाएंगे तो रूटीन सब लोग अपनी रूटीन लाइफ में वापस आ रहे हैं।
तो 2 दिन पहले देखा है कि ड्रोन मूवमेंट्स होती है, उसके बाद यहाँ से बहुत रिपोर्ट्स आती हैं। हमने लगातार कई विलेज जो बॉर्डर के गांव हैं वहाँ भी गए हैं, लोग वापस आना शुरू हो गए। यहाँ से भी कई लोग चले गए थे, सब वापस आ रहे हैं।
सब धीरे धीरे कर सभी वापस आ रहे हैं। जैसे फिरोजपुर के गांव में ड्रोन अटैक हुआ था, वहाँ पर 3 बंदे जो थे वो सीरियस कंडीशन में थे, जो एक की तो डेथ हो गई थी। तो रूटीन लाइफ में जैसे चल रहा है बस वैसे लाइफ में सभी को आना चाहिए। जैसे भी फिरोजपुर का माहौल है, जैसे हम पीस के हिसाब से हम चलते हैं तो पीस के हिसाब से यहाँ पे होना चाहिए।
देखिए, लास्ट नाइट वी हैव सीन लाइफ वाज वेरी वेरी काम एंड देयर वाज नो सायरन, नो imposed blackout, but yes, voluntarily they had given some guidelines if people they are supposed to follow. तो आप वॉक कर रहे हैं यहाँ पार्क में, अब पूरा नॉर्मल हो गया?
हाँ जी नॉर्मल, टोटली नॉर्मल जी। ਇਹ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਜੀ, ਦੋਨੋਂ ਉਧਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਭਰਾ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਇੱਧਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆ। ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਜੀ, ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰ ਹੈ ਸਭ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਦੇ ਹੱਕ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਜੀ।
तो बिल्कुल, क्योंकि कुछ दिन पहले हमने देखा था टेंशन हुई थी यहाँ पे, लोग यहाँ से कहीं और भी जा रहे थे, लेकिन अब लग रहा है कि पूरा नॉर्मल हो गया, क्योंकि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से भी कोई भी ऐसी गाइडलाइंस नहीं दी गई। कल रात को तो खास करके बिल्कुल भी नहीं दी।
नहीं, कल रात को गाइडलाइन थी भी स्कूल आज स्कूल बंद हैं, आज स्कूल बंद हैं। फिर भी माहौल तो आज अभी डीसी का ऑर्डर है, माहौल बाहर ना निकलो, अभी ऑर्डर है इनके। पर एक बार तो हर बार होना चाहिए था, ये जो बात हुई है एक बार तो हर बार होना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान बाज नहीं आएगा, पाकिस्तान ने बाज नहीं आना, उसने दोबारा हरकत करनी है। एक बार तो मोदी को पूरा जोश देकर काम करना चाहिए था।
तो बिल्कुल, लेकिन जो लाइफ है, अगर बात करें सिचुएशन की ग्राउंड पे, तो सिचुएशन कैसी देख रहे हैं?
सिचुएशन बहुत नॉर्मल है, यहाँ आगे से बहुत बेहतर है। शुक्र शनिवार बहुत माड़ी थी, लोग बाहर भाग रहे थे, लेकिन अब जो है बिल्कुल नॉर्मल लाइफ है, बिजनेस उस तरह चल रहा है।
तो आप भी, हम देख रहे थे लगातार यहाँ पे कई दिन से यहाँ पे थे, आप भी बातचीत कर रहे थे लोगों से, तो आप बिल्कुल नॉर्मल लग रही है।
बिल्कुल इस समय जो माहौल है बिल्कुल नॉर्मल है। रात को भी बिल्कुल नॉर्मल रहा, लेकिन जो डीसी के आर्डर थे वो ब्लैक आउट अपने आप करनी है आपने, मतलब कि हम सायरन नहीं देंगे आपको, लेकिन माहौल बिल्कुल ठीक है। जो ये सीज फायर हुआ है ये बहुत बढ़िया हुआ है, ये दोनों देशों के लिए ठीक है। तो क्योंकि पाकिस्तान को पता तो लग ही गया, इंडिया भी एक पावर है।
Well, here we are getting reaction from these residents of Firozpur. They say life is calm and normal, and normalcy has been in everywhere of this border area of Punjab. Back to studio.
All right. Thank you for getting us those voices of the morning walkers, Gurpreet. What is the situation right now in Srinagar? Remember, the DGMOs will be taking to the hotline, in fact, roughly around 12 noon, and that's perhaps from where the headline will also emerge. So let's listen in to what Shivaroor had to say about the situation in Srinagar.
It is actually surreal to receive the Indian Army's message this morning saying that last night was the first night which was largely peaceful and no major incidents of any violations of any kind, because the Army consistently since the beginning of this season of tensions between India and Pakistan has had updates about ceasefire violations, drone attacks and things like that. We ourselves have seen it firsthand, both at the line of control and even here in the airspace over Srinagar. But on the second day after this understanding was reached between India and Pakistan, right in the middle of very, very high-octane combat between the two sides, it seems after those initial troubles, initial violations that took place night before last night was largely peaceful. I have to admit I didn't get very much sleep last night because there was a belief that there would be updates from our contacts in different parts of the line of control in the Kashmir sector and in the Jammu sector as well. There were rumors right through the night of firing and drone attacks, etc. But it's good to see that the army has now put all of that to rest and said that this has been the first peaceful night with no incidents whatsoever. Obviously, this sets the stage for the conversation over the hotline between the two Director Generals of Military Operations, Major General Kashif Abdullah of Pakistan, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai of India. This is, of course, prefixed by a message that was sent by the Indian DGMO to his counterpart yesterday, just before that briefing by the armed forces, where it was conveyed in no uncertain terms that the initial violations past that understanding may be explained as some teething troubles or some units not getting the message in time, etc. But from this night onwards was the real test, and since it's gone peacefully, I think the decks are cleared for hopefully some kind of a healthy conversation put between the two DGMOs. And let's make no mistake, it means that Pakistan has got the message as well.
Around 6:30 p.m. yesterday, the 4 DGMOs, in fact, the 3 DGMOs and Major General S.S. Sharda briefed the press with regards to details of Operation Sindoor. Remember, these were the officers who were leading the entire operation, and hence India sending a message that there is a new red line, a new doctrine in place as far as the security paradigm of the country is concerned. Let's listen in to the DGMOs.
A decision was taken to strike where it would hurt, and towards that in a swift, coordinated, calibrated attack, we struck his air bases, command centers, military infrastructure, air defense systems across the entire Western Front. The bases we struck include Chaklala, Rafiki, and mind you, Chaklala is Islamabad. Rahim Yar Khan, Sakar, sending a clear message that aggression will not be tolerated.
Forces remained forward deployed in the Northern Arabian Sea in a decisive and deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi at time of our choosing. The forward deployment of the Indian Navy compelled Pakistani naval and air units to be in a defensive posture, mostly inside harbors or very close to the coast, which we monitored continuously.
So what was the role of the Indian Navy in particular became clear from that press conference when a senior Navy officer, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod, actually told the press that their role was that of a deterrent posture with a full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi port at a time of our choosing. So we have been wondering the role of Indian Navy in particular in this entire Operation Sindoor. That became clear from that press conference. Aishwarya Jain joins us. Aishwarya, India has maintained that India's response has been measured, non-escalatory and responsible from day one. And what appeared from the 4 soldiers who addressed the press and told the world that it was an act of aggression which came from Pakistan, and India has set a new red line as far as the security doctrine is concerned, and also that this is the new normal between the two countries. If there is a terror strike on Indian soil, then India will be striking the terror pads and also the military bases in Pakistan.
Well, that's the straight line that has been drawn by the Indian Army, that future terror activities would be considered as an act of war, and India will be responding accordingly. Yesterday's press conference by 4 of the generals were very brief. It was detailed in nature. The amount of proofs and the evidences that were given through the visuals, through the pictures that were completely neutralized by the Indian Armed Forces were strategic, and those were the hit points as far as the terror infrastructures in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are concerned. Yesterday's press conference also had given a brief about how Indian Navy was very much active, and it was full authority that was given